what is your advice to fighters coming up? Like, we got a lot of big stars coming up, Sugar Shane, and you got Paulo Costa's coming in, and he, he's a big name, possibly could become a champion. Sterling's getting a lot of hype. There's a lot of people getting a lot of hype trying to get where you were, being that champion or whatever. You were there, and now you're transitioning. Yeah. You got this huge fight at least you got this good fight to motivate yourself. That's probably more than a belt to keep you motivated for this last big fight. And then decide if you want to keep fighting, get the belt, go on to your next thing. But being where you're at in your career, what's your advice to fighters that are coming up that do get to that high level where they achieve stardom and make the big bucks, on what they should do and how they should transition once they get to that point where they should start thinking about post-fighting? Now, again, like, I'm not saying that's where your thoughts are only, and obviously you got a big fight coming up, but obviously when you get to the later part of your career, you have to start thinking about what's going to happen later, or you're going to have nothing. And we've seen all the fighters that don't have anything because they never thought about it, they never prepared, they never used their networks, they never did anything. What's your advice to some of these fighters that are just gung-ho, wanting to be champions, blowing money and acting crazy, and not really realizing that there is life after fighting, and it's exciting. It's like a rebirth. For me, it was like a complete rebirth. It was like when I quit fighting and started business full time and started building a gym and everything, it was like a whole new life for me, which was cool, and it was exciting. And I love looking back at the fact that I had the UFC career, and I could say I fought 15 times in the UFC, and I did that, and I wasn't even to your level. I wasn't even a champion. But then it was a whole new life. What is your advice, being that you're kind of in that position where you're still taking big fights, you still could be a champion, but yet you have to also start thinking about soon you're going to be transitioning into that next phase, and how can you advise other up-and-comers to prepare for that?
You have to take it on head on, and you can't be afraid of the next chapter. That's really all it is. I mean, the fighters that have only fighting are the fighters that are unfortunately 5-10 years on the road. We're going to look at them and it's going to like, where did they go?
Yeah.
We're going to see them doing tasks and work, or maybe not working at all, and it's going to be kind of sad for us to watch, because the sport takes so much out of you mentally. It takes so much time away from other crafts, abilities, things that you was passionate about that you could have done parallel. It's very difficult to do two things at once with this MMA stuff. So you put your life on hold. If you got a 10, 15, 20-year career in mixed martial arts, that's 20 years that's really your only skill and expertise.
Right.
You haven't been doing these other things. And evolution happens. The technology changes, and systems, procedures, warm-ups, and all these different things to be a business man or woman changes, and you don't have the repetition of doing it. So I would, as you're getting to that final chapter of this fight career, I would really start looking at what's passionate, because you will find it's going to be two birds with one stone. You're going to find sometimes that the politics or the highs and lows, because there's very few people that are like at the top and treated like the best of the entire time of their career. They're going to say no to something that the UFC wants, or they're going to be in a position where it just doesn't make sense for them, but it makes a lot of sense for what the promotion wants. And it may be at odds at some point. So when you find what you're passionate about, it gives you that joy. And sometimes it may not be fighting. It may be music. Like for me, at one point it was music. And then now it's production. But I'm not replacing my main bag with that. But like my passion for that, I got to earn to be able to do that. So the harder I train, if I'm on time that day and I train hard and I do more, now when I go and record, or I go write a treatment, or I get myself ready to film, I feel like I earned it. You know what I mean? And I think if you keep that balance, it's how I was able to do so much and still maintain a high level. I earned the studio. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I earned to go out and go to a premiere, to a movie premiere that I was in camp, but as long as I don't drink and, you know what I mean, turn up and be out too late, it's not going to kill me. I should be able, I need to go to the network, because we tell ourselves there in camp, don't eat, don't drink, no fat. You know what I mean? Don't be out late. Don't even make us think that you about the, you know what I mean? Yeah. You can be drinking a gallon of water inside of an event and everybody can be drinking around, but people just attach us with perfection. And it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real. We eat bullshit food, you know. You've had the experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So we do those things, but it's like I tell you this all the time, Mike. It's all about life. Is about remember those time when moments, and I'm trying to create as many of those.
Yeah.
Remember that time when everybody counted me out, and I came back and I won a shop again, and I was damn near 40, and like nobody had ever did that before, and I walked away like a G. That's what life's about. Like I wanted to walk through Usman, then beat up Kobe, then beat up a couple more guys, go up a weight class, take that belt, defend a couple more times, and then just do I fight super fights? Do I keep fighting? I don't know. And have so many options. And meanwhile, as I'm the champion, because when you're the winner and you're the champion, more opportunities come to you. It's night and day. It's not even the same.
Yeah, I bet.
So now all the opportunities was coming with me. Now I'm this crazy actor, and I've got gold and platinum music, and I'm producing my own shit. That would be the best case scenario. But now it's like this. Those are still the things that I'm looking for. But now I got to detour, and I got to go around. I got to get through this task that could be harder than the title. And then I got to find my way through.
Yeah.
And as I find my way through, I think I got to lean on that experience we talk about. That experience is so important because when it comes down to two things being even, same power, same speed, same cardio, same wrestling, and that experience, man, that experience can take you into a different realm that, you know what I mean, your natural body and your natural state can't. And I know that I got way more of that than Kobe do.
Yeah, for sure. And we all have fun, man. We all do fun things to relax and get our mind off stuff. And I know you've taken heat in the past and even currently because people are quick to say you need to be focused on fighting, not on music, not on acting, and such and such and such. People don't understand. These are people that don't have no idea about fighters. Fighters, when I was a fighter, I had more off time to relax and do other stuff than I've ever had since then. And most fighters play video games, they watch movies, they party, they don't realize some of the best fighters in the world spend the majority of their time doing other things that have nothing to do with fighting than fighting. But people just assume that they're just sitting there reading fighting books and like watching fighting videos and training all the time. That's not the case. True. They put the work in, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of downtime. And I think the sacrifice never ends if you want to get what you want. And for me, of course, I had the fun times and partying right after a fight and, the nights out to relax. But in those downtimes, instead of the video games and doing some of the other stuff, some people go fishing and hunting and all these other things. I was always reading business books because I had that, like you said, that passion for business, right? So I filled that time with business, learning business. I wasn't out trying to do meetings and not getting in the way of my fight, but I was definitely learning about it, and that's paid dividends now that I've had my fighting career finished, and now I'm in business, and I'm way more acclimated to what business is, and I've had more success, and I've done better because I utilized that time and sacrificed a lot of those fun moments I could have done other stuff on business. And for you, you're using that time, like when you were here, I saw you're using that time to focus on music and other things in your off time and your downtime to get your mind off training, to relax your body and to recover between sessions. And people don't realize that. And I think that needed to be said because people don't understand that fighters, at all levels, even champion level, they don't just sit around and train, 24 hours a day and watch fight videos and read fight books 24 hours a day. And most of them are doing stuff that would blow your fucking mind. Like fans wouldn't even believe some of the stuff that fighters actually do that are at the highest level. You know what I mean? And publicly, we've seen a couple of things that came up with some superstars that they've done. So it's like, my advice, along with what you said, I agree with you, is to find that passion that you want afterwards as you start getting later on in your career. And start learning about it. Start putting some effort into it and pursuing that in that regard. In a way of kind of taking your mind off of fighting and relaxing, and that's going to pay dividends later on when you're needing that information, you have that experience. So I just wanted to say that because I see you getting a hard time for it, and like people don't realize they don't have an idea what it's really like. You know what I mean? Like the most free time I've ever had is when I was a fighter. I mean, I trained 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, and the rest of the day I had nothing else to do. If it wasn't business for me, it was nothing. Like I had nothing else to do. So, you have time to go ahead and set yourself up. And I think more fighters need to do that.